All right, we are on live at 1:30 p.m. Time has been evaporating so quickly. And so, what I'm going to do is post maybe a part of this, if not all of this, live today on Instagram. Let's see if I could make it happen. I think so. Okay. So, just in case I'm putting this live on Instagram, I don't know how long I'm going to keep it running because my phone battery is running hot. But anyway, today is Thursday. It is February the 20th, 2025. I'm Brother Francis Z. Revels-Bey. I'm on the Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. I'm on its platform on YouTube, on its channel. And today's topic for my Clear Blue Radiance episode, I'll take my glasses off here. Ah, okay. For my Clear Blue Radiance podcast, my topic for today is entitled How to Dance in the Light of Divine Grace. Now, that's actually taken from my book back here called Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace, but I thought I would turn it into a podcast for today. This is an opportunity to share such information with all of you on Clear Blue Radiance. I am the host and the original podcaster for this particular episode and podcast. I've been a spiritual counselor for over 40 plus years. I enjoy helping people like yourself gain greater clarity and find out, hey, Linda Garcia and Rose, how you doing? And gain greater clarity and find and redefine your purpose in life. And I offer this every Thursday, usually about 1 p.m. The time is going real fast for me today. I'm like running behind schedule and yet on time at the same time. So I put the title in the chat just now, so it's there. Um, One of the things, the reason why I put this in here, it's a good way for me to segue into the late Reverend Ike's book, which I'm going to show here that I'm going to utilize today to further explain what I'm striving to teach. This is the late Reverend Ike's book that all of his ministers have always used every Sunday. He has 52 chapters, so each chapter, number one, is for the first Sunday of the year, and the 52nd chapter is for the 52nd Sunday of the year. And this is repetitive, ongoing, so people that are following his particular teaching, his ministers and groups out there, they can get this information quite clear with themselves. And the particular chapter I'm going to use for today's teaching will be chapter 34, which coincides with what I'm talking about. Chapter 34 is 4 steps to get what you want. But before I utilize that and place that in here, in this particular topic, it's learning and paying attention to how life is being created or evolving around ourselves as we evolve consciously for ourselves. And when we think about the word dance, when you think about it, what does it mean to you? What does it feel like to you? Well, dance, when we think about it automatically, it's about having fun, moving our feet and body in the rhythm to music that's rhythmic, music that brings us happiness and joy, music that can bring us a sense of peace. And so, when the right groove is cooking for yourself, you start to move, you start to snap your fingers, tap your toes, whatever, you start getting the body to move, right? And so, That's the idea I want you to keep in mind, that you're striving to have fun. And if you can have fun, then your life is actually run smoother rather than becoming difficult. Events in our life create a pattern, which is a rhythm. So think of the things that have gone on in your life that somehow speaks the language of a pattern, whether it's something happening for you on your behalf or something that seems to be slagging, slowing down. This is when we have things muddled. Sometimes we're thinking, hey, this is a bad day. I'm not going outside. I don't feel right. I don't feel like things are moving in the direction that I want them to move in. And so, what often happens is that everything around us gets boggled, right? Like a traffic jam. Okay, nothing seems to be moving. The obstacles or whatever they are, our thoughts and our feelings, and sometimes self sabotaging a situation or fear or trauma that may pop up in our life that develops over a period of time and then we have it. These things create uh, sort of a adversary type of rhythm. You know, we can't seem to get things going that we normally would do for ourselves. And so, what we want to realize is that all things are working, they're just not working in the way that we would like to see them work, okay? For anybody that's tuning in right now on Instagram, this is my usual Thursday afternoon talk. My podcast is called Clear Blue Radiance, and I'm about to release some good information. This time I'm putting Reverend Ike's material into it. So, you know, events in our life create a pattern, which is a rhythm. And through our own heartbeats, we have a natural rhythm. Through our brainwave levels, there's a natural rhythm. And usually we have to find the middle point for ourselves where we can have more peace, more happiness, joy, a better health, a better way of living, a better life. Okay. What helps us do that is thinking clearly and feeling more upbeat and positive about how our life is flowing or should be flowing. And often, what that actually means is we see worldly events going on all the time. Things are happening in the world. Let me say hello to Magi Stokes 83 and Jovita. How you all doing over there? So these things are constantly happening, and unconsciously we are aware that we are putting certain thoughts onto those experiences. And we put the certain thoughts onto those experiences where we're not thinking clearly, we're angry, we're upset about how things are in our life appear to be unraveling, right? And so we're not clear. And often, when we go through a situation, we are then constantly thinking about it. And what usually happens if it's not going well for us, then we're repetitively thinking in the wrong direction. I'm going to say that again. We are repetitively thinking in the wrong direction. And what is that wrong direction? That involves negative emotions, negative thoughts, and then repetition of negative feelings and negative thoughts. And we don't understand or we don't often see it that way. We think we're just thinking, and we don't understand our thoughts are very powerful, especially when our emotions get linked into it. Our thoughts are what we are issuing out into the universe. It's like electrical energy going out. Well, it it's all universal information. Um, and the reason why I say that is there's many things I've studied in my 72 years or 50 years of doing this work. And so what we're going to find is all these things are beginning to overlap. And this is good information on any level for anyone. And this is why I'm going to use the teachings of Reverend Knight today in this to kind of solidify it and back it up more. So, what is very unique is we have developed our own beliefs about what we think life should be for ourselves. The words we speak and past experiences will cause feelings of loss, poverty consciousness, mishaps in our lives. We'll see things that just are out of sync. Then there's missteps that we make, in terms of how we are trying to decide what we need to do or should do to try to correct something. Often with that is being misunderstood. You might have certain people in your social or family circle or work environment who are not on the same page with you, who may be in opposition to your thoughts and your feelings. And so being misunderstood can create a reality where we do not desire to repeat in our lives. But when we are worried, we do cause it to happen as we are creating. And how we feel is the stamp of unconscious approval. And like I said, this today's topic, the way I didn't put it in the Instagram chat, things were moving rather quickly. But it's based on this book, Dancing in the Light of Divine Grace. I originally wrote this book in 2004. And when I wrote it in 2004, I have a whole list of teachings in there. Then I revised it in 2017. And when I revised it in 2017, I started making greater strides with it. And so that's how I came up with today's title. That book has to do with a lot of my own life's experiences where I made my own mishaps, missteps going on, where I was angry a lot because things weren't appearing to work out on my behalf. And a lot of it was the way I was thinking. Some of it was also just running into different life experiences. So if you get that book, you'll see there weren't some pretty scenes in there. There was a lot of things going on that I lacked control over, which also means I lacked control over myself. And I talk about those life experiences in there. Well, one of the things that happens is that we are unaware that we're creating these experiences or sometimes the environment for them to take place. And it happens on a very unconscious level. And the reason why I say that is because sometimes we're not certain or we're not sure how we're thinking that way or how does that happen. And sometimes, again, you could have various people in your life who also could be going through some very down, depressing moments or things didn't work out for them. And sometimes they might be indirectly influencing your train of thought and how you feel about what you see going on in your life, as well as what you think or feel could be going on or not going on in your life. And sometimes we know that we have to kind of clear out. Sometimes you have to. A lot of great teachers will say to you, not everybody in your life can go in the same direction you're going in. My late mother used to say it this way: not everybody should get on the same boat. You think because you see a crowd of people on a boat and they look like they're having a great time, you don't know what other elements are in there that are giving it that false appearance until something takes place that goes the opposite direction. So you want to always think very clearly and very deeply. And I'm going to give a meditation today that will hopefully help us realign ourselves in the direction that we would like to go for ourselves. Okay. I'm gonna just wave back, Denise. It's hard to put everybody through Instagram in because I'm also simultaneously on the main platform, which is YouTube. And so it's hard flipping back and forth. And plus, I'm broadcasting live out of my home, so that is also I don't have anybody here to help, move back and forth between both platforms. So one of the things we want to be able to do is understand that when we are not sure of our direction or not sure what we're supposed to do, what's the next step? And if you're happening to be functioning out of a low point, or what I mean a low point is where you're not feeling great about yourself at all. It's very hard to see where you need to go if you're not feeling well about yourself. Now, it is also equally hard to be in the present moment with yourself, to understand how to do that. It's also equally hard how to be honest with yourself as to how you feel about what you've been thinking and what you are doing. It is also hard to think yourself outside the box. In other words, we are all doing something over and over and over, and we learn that repetition helps. If you repeat something exactly the same way, especially if you're trying to create something, okay, perfection leads you to an opportunity. But what you also find out is the ability to be in the present moment. And if you could be in that present moment, being in the now moment, then it's a little easier, even though it may not feel like it's easy at that time. So if you would have studied the books of Ram Dass, which was his real name in life was Richard Alpert. And as Richard Alpert, he was a Yale University psychology professor who, along with another guy on campus, I think they were at Yale or Harvard, Timothy Leary. If you look those two names up, those guys were professors experimenting with LSD, okay, and hallucinogenic drugs. LSD was a big thing back in the 60s. And these particular professors were experimenting with it to see where they could go with it. The only difference is Timothy Leary went left and Richard Alpert went right. Richard Alpert was the guy who was studying yogic philosophies and eventually put his money together and went to India. And that's how he got the name Ram Das, which was, I forget what that exactly means, but it altered his consciousness. Meditation altered his consciousness. Studying yogic philosophies altered his consciousness, and he no longer had to rely on any LSD. It changed him totally, and he came back as Ram Dass. And he passed away about, I think, 2 or 3 years ago over in Maui, okay, where he made his home. And the book that he wrote was called Be Here, comma, Now. Be Here Now, meaning stay in the present moment, live consciously in the present moment, and do your best to stay present. You don't have to be perfect. You just need to stay present so you can see what you need to see for yourself and then begin to live out the truth of who you truly are. And this is often something that is necessary. Now, granted, none of this happens overnight because that's where the missteps come in. And sometimes we are accustomed to doing certain things and responding to life in a certain way. Because again, we see all these different patterns that are in front of us and then around us. We see different people doing different things, and the way they respond or may not respond to any particular life situations. And then, depending on your age, too. If you're younger and you're in a household with parents and older siblings and older adults, you're observing what they're doing and how they go about handling life's pressures and situations. So it's not easy. It takes time to really begin to see where you are at in life. And it takes a bit of time because you go through so much. and you have emotional wounds, and you got mental wounds going on and scars. And then if you're not thinking well about yourself, you got that going on in your life. And then if you happen to have people around you, and many people experience it, ask any woman who's been in a difficult relationship, she will tell you, yeah, I'm going through things where my husband doesn't understand me. We got younger children. He seems to turn the children against me. And that's a bit much, right? That's like over the top stuff that happens inside of different relationships, be there marital, even in business relationships, where a business partner may decide to make all the decisions and leave the other partner out. Okay. And they may not have agreed to that. Or someone is collecting all the money all the time and the other person is sitting on the sidelines. Or the other person gets so disgruntled that eventually they do what? They up and leave. They resign and get out. So this happens all the time. We are bombarded with these traumatic experiences on varying degrees in our life, and we have to figure out how can we get clear of all of that. Well, meditation is a way in which to do it, using positive words that have an impact or can influence or can adjust how you see yourself and then re-steer your mind in a different direction. That is good. It's also the ability to feel the words that you're saying rather than just reading them. And I could say for myself, I'm still learning. I just know that it's time to plant the seed, to share my seeds and plant them with everyone. And I've been doing it for the past 50 years and it hasn't been easy. So all I can do is plant the seed to grow that tree or grow that tree that gives off certain fruit. But it takes consistency, and it also takes an ability to love yourself more and to be honest with loving yourself, the whole you, because if you don't do that, then more friction and confusion pops up in your life. We all have heard many other metaphysical teachers tell you that sometimes you got to forgive. And then we think, okay, well, this person molested me, this other person robbed me blind out of my home, this other person, domestic violence was placed upon me by this individual. So you might have someone that has all three of that going on, or just different people. And so what you've got to learn is, and it, again, it's difficult, is how to forgive. And what has come out of this concept of forgiving is what? It's not so much that you got to confront or go to the person that brought you the harm, because you may never get that or get them as an audience, because they might be still living in that narcissistic frame, abusive frame of mind, being the bully in your life. Okay, being the person that overtook your level of feelings and self-worth. And so many metaphysicians will tell you, you need to just forgive yourself. Working on how to forgive yourself, to realize that, hey, you're not the only one who has made mistakes, who has chosen the wrong relationship to be in, the wrong business partner to be with, or felt like you were pushed into it. You're not the only one. So, what you begin to do is to find a way to bring more peace, harmony, and happiness to yourself. So you begin to forgive yourself on different levels for whatever reason that something didn't go right, where you were on the pain end. Okay. And sometimes you realize that people, if you're following a lot of good teachers out there, good metaphysical, spiritual practitioners, or your teachers, or you got a good mentor or life coach, as we say nowadays, excuse me, you begin to realize, hey, you were victimized, but you're not a victim. You just weren't able to turn events around. You weren't able to come from a place of peace, harmony, and happiness through your heart. You weren't able to be a firm thinking person or a firm person to act accordingly instead of just reacting. And so, in the beginning, when we don't have enough life's experience, we are reacting to what's coming in our direction. We don't understand yet that as time goes on, as we get older in life, then we start to see where, hey, I didn't have to give in, or I didn't have to allow myself to receive punishment, be it emotionally, mentally, physically, verbally, or whatever. I didn't have to place myself there. Even when I saw the signs, I didn't realize I could leave. And this happens. We see it all the time. And I've had people in the past, people would share with me and say, well, how come that the lady who was the client, how come she can't leave that abusive boyfriend? I said, you don't understand. That abusive boyfriend groomed her for years. And along the way, met her family members, okay, got to know how they think, and then began to cut away different family members away from the woman, the partner in his life, until she had no other person there but him. And he made it so that those other people who were very important when he first met her became like people who no longer wanted to be in their presence. But he would plant the seed. The abusive personality would plant that seed to make those people think that they don't want to be around her. They'll only see the weakness in her, to see what he created as a weakness in her, as well as him putting forth certain words in their direction so they don't want to deal with him. Therefore, just said, well, I hope she gets it together. Not understanding that he cut them off from her. And we see this happen all the time. People being cut off from their source of strength and unconditional love that they had being planted in their life. So these are things that are difficult to realize. And when we get to the point where we can go to ourselves, look ourselves in the mirror, or be in a meditation alone by ourselves and start letting ourselves know that we are worthy. The word is worthy goes into value. We have a value that we now can place back into our life. We are worthy to have good, positive people that treat us with respect. But the first and foremost thing is when you are forgiving yourself, you are doing what? You are willing to embrace yourself and love yourself first. So you start to love yourself for all the right reasons. You start to embrace yourself for all the right reasons. You start to acknowledge who you truly are. And as you take these steps to do that, each moment of your life begins to change. And also, you learn how to answer with a firm no. You also learn how to disconnect yourself from people who can take advantage of you or think that you're not paying attention. So you learn to do all of that as well. This is highly important to remember. It may even sound simple to hear it, but sometimes the simplest thing has the most power embedded in it. So you want to begin to walk a certain path for yourself that makes sense for you, that brings emotional wellness to yourself, brings greater healing to yourself, and then you have a certain degree of strength that's now has been replanted into your life. So your life begins to transform because your thinking is different, and therefore your feeling about situations, about people, about the types of people change. But what's more important is that you are changing because you find out how important it is to love yourself first, to be able to embrace yourself, the principles that you carry. And as you do that, then you become stronger in your life. As you become stronger in your life, you begin to see yourself completely different. So, what will happen is, as I begin to take a peek here at Reverend Ike's teaching, you will begin to understand that he has four keys that help you see that help you make a shift. And in his book, and I'll say it again, let me show it to my YouTube audience and now to my Instagram audience. Um, these four truths are transformational and will bring you toward a sense of well-being and shift you into higher awareness and higher consciousness. And I'm going to say thought in motion was thinking about you. I was thinking about you. Thought in motion for a long time. So here are the four keys. Now, his science of living principle is you have within you the infinite power of God to bring into existence whatever good you want to be, to do, and to have. Because his three words were be, do, and have. That's what you're looking to do. To be something, to do something. So, one of the things is to be more in alignment with what I say in my book back here, Radiant Heart, is to be in alignment with your higher self. And your higher self is the reflection of the divinity of the universe that's in you. People refer to it as the I am presence now. You might see God as prime creator, divine source energy, goddess energy, Gaia's energy. But however you choose to see God, force, or power of God in your life, which is infinite, you change the wording. The steps are going to be the same in most cases. So he says the four keys are decide it, believe it, see it, then feel it. I'll say it again. He says the four steps to get what you want is first decide, second believe that what you're deciding you could have, see it, and then feel it. So in essence, what he is saying is you got to figure out what it is that you want. That's the first and foremost thing. If you can figure out what it is that you truly want, meaning that want has to be something that allows you to overflow with happiness, allows you to feel the sensation of abundance, allows you to feel the sensation of prosperity. Now, not everything points to finances all the time, but what actually happens is that finances show up. So if you might be trying to make a deadline or lifeline at a job or work, something you need finances. You could focus on the finances a lot. You could do that. You could say, "Well, I'm focusing on that. I need $10,000 in 3 months." You could focus on that, but you also got to feel it too, and you got to believe, are you worthy enough to receive it? That's the most important part. Because if you don't feel that you deserve it, that you're worthy to receive it, it's not going to show up. Why? Because the universe, which is around us, the substance of the universe that is around us, has this energy field within it that is both magnetic and electrical. And you have a field of energy around you known as your aura. That's what Edgar Casey called it. He's the one that found that word, aura, AURA. So, in that electromagnetic energy field that your own body is giving off all the time, Not just are you sending signals out through your brain, right? But you're also radiating energy out into the universe all around you, which is then making things possible to create a precipitation. And when precipitation is created, like we see in the clouds, you says, "Oh, it's about to rain out here," and then you start smelling dampness in the air, and you start smelling water around you, and then you start feeling like it's going to rain. And those of us who are seniors or those who have experienced accidents will say, "Ah, my joints are hurting," or "I'm getting a headache, getting pressure, sinus pressure going on." Because you're a part of everything, and the atmosphere is releasing stuff in your direction, or I should say you're in the element of it. It's not releasing it to you specifically, but you're in the element of it. And when you realize you're in the element, you're in the water, you're in the this area where you know it's about to rain, and then you see it. So he says sometimes he found it necessary, to shock people into making a decision. Now, what would he mean by shocking people into making a decision? Well, if you going through a bad relationship, marital, friendship, whatever, business, sometimes somebody shocks the other person into making a decision. But here's something that I've noticed that happen. The person who is trying to shock the other person into making a decision doesn't realize that that person who they have controlled for most of the relationship in their life, that person is numbed out. So shocking won't work. That person can be screamed at, can be hit or battered, can have things taken from them, but so much has happened where so many things were taken from them that they no longer have an emotional response nor a mental response. They appear to be listless. In reality, they're not. Whatever that strong point that was in them, they no longer have it, or they temporarily lost it. And I'm going to say that we can temporarily lose things. Because when we temporarily lose something, you don't have anything to draw on. How many of you, either on YouTube or on Instagram, have maybe heard a thought process or a phrase that says, that person is so down, they have nothing else to lose? Because they don't have anything. So, what are they going to lose? But what will happen over a period of moments, trial and error and testing and retesting, and finally comprehending who they are or who they could be, then what was lost is regained. What's being regained is what? Self image. Who are they to themselves? That person that was once thoroughly victimized by a bully in their life finally realized they have some self worth, and they've grown aware that they are valuable, not only to their family, to their community, their neighborhood, their county, their state, and it goes on and on and on until the person realizes that they become free. In other words, the person who was the victim, once they realized who they are, they regain their internal strength, and they begin to recognize their true value to themselves first. And they realize that person in my life, that situation, that job, whatever it is, I'm not receiving anything. I'm not getting anything that makes me feel better, act better, do better. So sometimes people say, well, I'm going to quit my job. Some people say, I'm going to get a divorce. This person's constantly badgering me. I'm going to cut them off from my life, and I'm going to move on. Well, when you're ready to do that, then you will do that. But you will take any necessary steps that you need that are in your life to make a change. So you may not run after what another person is saying who is trying to manipulate you. You may not uh, be striving to be anybody else but you. In other words, you got to reel yourself back in, and you have to realize who are you in the first place. And once you are able to say to yourself, I'm somebody, I love myself more than anybody could love me. That's an intention unto itself. That's like an affirmative prayer unto itself. That's an affirmation to itself. You can say, I affirm that I'm very worthy to receive that anything that is better for me, that's for my highest good. I'm open to it. I'm ready to receive it. And I can embrace the energy. So you don't have to see the thing itself, you just embrace the energy of it. If you can embrace the energy of it, then you start to see it because you start putting what details into the thought process. And then you start to feel the details. You start to feel the energy flow that those things give off. And once you do that, then things begin to change. So, Reverend Ike says it in here. Now, some people can be shocked and sometimes people cannot. But he says, in the present moment, he says, right here and right now, make up your mind about what you want and then write it down. In other words, create like a list, just like when you want to go out and shop for groceries. Don't you write down all the things you may have used up at home? Hey, you might need more olive oil, sesame oil. You might need laundry detergent. You might need some rolls. You might need paper towels. You just name it. You go and write down a list. Or say, oh, I need some fruit and veggies in the home. So you go write down the list and you start creating this list. But you're going to create things or write down things on that list that are going to, sure enough, bring you a truth or a reality to yourself. That's what's going to happen. So you're going to find out what is necessary. And once you find out what is necessary for you, makes you stronger internally for yourself, then you're going to feel a lot better about yourself. Just like you decide, I have a hobby and I'm going to explore that hobby. I'm going to get the proper tools that make that hobby work better for me. You might say, I don't need a brand new car, but I do need a better car. I need one where everything is working, no problems, no hiccups. Everything is working on that car. Or you say, I think I'm going to get a brand new wardrobe. And what happens is you start going out and looking for things that could spruce up your wardrobe or something that's brand new. There might be a particular color that you like, a particular pattern that you like in your clothing. Eventually, the creative side of yourself comes forward because now you start going, well, not only am I picking the color, but in most cases, when I go out and socialize, or I go out to party, I will go out and realize, hey, I need something that kind of fits the environment that I'm going into. So you make decisions and you decide which one of those decisions are highly important for you to make. And then you start to embrace the decision. You start walking with it, dancing with it, breathing it in. You start feeling the flow because whatever you are deciding to do for yourself is going to help you in the long run and the short run as well. It's going to help you feel better about yourself because you're embracing something new, something that charges you up, something that makes you feel better. Feeling, Reverend Ike used to say, let the feeling get the blessing. Neville Goddard said it too. Your feelings will bless you. Your feelings will bless you. Reverend Ike says, but let the feeling be the thing that gets the blessing. It's not what you're thinking all the time. You can think very clearly and you can speak very clearly, but how do you feel about what you're thinking and what you are saying? That's more important, he says, in the long run. Then he says, belief is mental acceptance. When you believe something, you mentally accept it for yourself. In order to accomplish your goals and achieve your good purposes, you have to believe. You have to mentally accept what you want. That's what he means by belief. Mentally accepting. In other words, can you see yourself driving a new car? Can you see yourself walking around with new clothes or colorful clothes? Can you see yourself um, participating in an art exhibit or an art gallery show? Can you see yourself getting one of those first, second, or third award? Can you see it? But here, I'm gonna put back the word feel. Not only can you see it, can what does it feel like when you win first, second, or third place? Or honorable mention, which is fourth place. What does it feel like to you? And here's the key. Sometimes you got to project your thoughts at to the finish line. Or I should say it this way. Project your thoughts past the finish line. You have to get into that mode of thinking and feeling, what does it feel like to be a winner? What does it feel like to receive what I just put out into the universe through my heart? Because your heart is the open door. Did I get past my limited thinking? Did I get past and understand that I have value in this world? Did I realize that I am worthy to receive something much better for my highest good? If you can begin to think that way, then you begin to act in that direction like that. And that's highly important. If you start to think a certain way, you feel better. So he would always say, believe in the infinite goodness, the infinite power of God in you. When you believe, you can achieve any and every goal you set forth for yourself. He would say, you're unstoppable. He would say, every thought you have represents $1 million, $1 billion, $1 trillion. He used to say that in his teachings. Every thought you have. So you can, and here's another thing about thought. How many of you have read a book, and I think it's entitled Hidden Messages by Isaru Moto? Esaru, that's the first name, Moto, Moto. He's a Japanese scientist who came across the understanding that plants can feel. But not only that, water that comes from the land up into the air, into the sky, and back down, water has consciousness. And so when you go in that train of thought that water has consciousness, water is living and breathing and has consciousness, holds and contains consciousness, then you start something in your way of thinking and feeling. Because if that's true, our bodies, as they say, is supposed to be 70% water or something like that. So all the liquid in our body can be affected by the thoughts that we think, right down to your blood cells. That's a liquid in your body. Right down to the organs in your body, the cells in your body contain memory. So all these things have consciousness. It's a reality that does exist. And we can get past reality. Because ity, the suffix means what state or condition is being real for you. Do you think you can be real, really healthy, really happy, really joyful? Can you be really abundant? Can you be really prosperous in your own life? You start thinking about it after a while. And you have to begin to hold on to the thought after a while. You can't let it escape you. This is important. It's very important because what you want to realize is you deserve everything and more. You deserve everything and more. So here's what he says. The next third step, he says, see it. Now, what does he mean by see it? What he means is use the technique of visualization. As you set the goals, and right as you decide what you want, now you're going to set the goal. You're going to write it out very clearly for yourself. When you write something out, it helps you to affirm it because you can see it on paper. It allows you to firm it up, make it tighter, because as you go through life's experiences every day, you might tweak it a little bit more. You might say, I'm going to leave this out and I'm going to add a certain element into what I wrote down. So as you begin to uh, realize that you have the power to write down your thoughts and then what? Actualize them, put them in motion. And he says the way to do it is through visualization. He used to use a phrase. He used to say, I'm going to take you through a visualization, but I'm going to take you into the theater of your mind. That's what he would call it, the theater of your mind, meaning your mind is spacious. And if you think just like you're sitting in a movie theater, when the curtains draw back, the worry draws back. You go into deeper, deeper thinking and deeper awareness, then you begin to create or see the image become created for you, which is to say that the universe is you. Universe, one song, one word. You are the same as what you see around you. Now, granted that you are experiencing the same seeds, right? You drive, everybody got a car, everybody got clothes, everybody got a house, or they got some kind of covering over themselves. Everybody can support themselves, everybody can eat and make themselves healthy. Everybody can exercise. You see this going on all the time around you. But where is your belief system? So I'm going to take belief to a different level. I'm going to say faith. Where's your faith in yourself? Because, in one sense, you can believe it and accept it mentally, but also belief is not to know. Why? Because you haven't experienced that which you're trying to put into your life. Now, if you've drove a car before, a motorcycle before, that you can put in your life. You got cameras and cell phones that you are aware that you can bring into your life. No one has to advertise those things to you. You have them stored in your subconscious mind. But when it comes to faith, faith is what you know to be true. Therefore, you can act on the truth of what you know. So he says you begin to visualize it. And as you visualize, you begin to put it into detail. And the more detail that you put into something, the better the opportunity for you to get what you desire. That's very important. Then he says you have to feel it. Feel the presence of the God energy in you. Feel the presence of it around you. Feel the purpose as being real to you. When you hear that phrase, I am that I am, you're creating an alignment to who you are and to what you're looking at or what you're desiring to achieve into your life. That's what's going on. So you have to open up to it, though, which means you have to overcome limited thinking. You can't think, I can't achieve it. There's no way in the world I can't achieve it. And you have to pay attention to what you are feeling when you say those words. Because many times we have often said with that a feeling of hurt or pain or a feeling of doubt that what we're saying is not going to come out. It's not going to happen because we don't believe it's going to happen. We don't have any faith it's going to happen. And hey, for the past 5 or 6 years, we've been working on this relationship. We've been working on this friendship. We've been working on this business, and it just didn't go anywhere. So we have to begin to change our outlook. And how we can change the outlook, we have to change on the inside. So we have to now think, I'm qualified. If I'm not qualified for a certain position, I'm emotionally excited about getting into that position, and therefore I could receive like minded individuals that will help me get into that position. Or you say, like, guys went out on a date and ladies went out on a date and ladies sat together and guys were over at the bar. And what happened? Ladies said, hey, I want to be with that guy. That guy that locks up with me to eye. He ain't staying away. That's someone I need to find out something about. You do the same with when you want a car, you wanted a bicycle, you wanted new clothes. You're locked in on it, and that's all you thought about. That's all you thought about. You put your emotions with it, and you felt I can achieve. And you realized that you could achieve it. Why? Because you were now feeling it. What were you feeling? The end result. You weren't feeling all the different processes, all the different steps. Because if you do that, you're going to tire out mentally and emotionally. So you don't worry about how you're going to achieve it. Just know that you're going to achieve it. Know that you're going to be successful. Why? Sometimes I say it like this. Tell yourself when you look in the mirror, tell yourself, I've been here before and I know exactly what to do. And then you hear that message from your higher self. And higher self, well, if you know what to do, then just open your heart and let me achieve it with you. Open your heart, open your mind. No more limited thinking, no more limited feelings, no more doubt. You're going to say to yourself, I will achieve because I can achieve. And I take whatever steps I need to do in order to make it happen. I have a friend back in Jersey. He would always say, it's a cinch inch by inch, meaning I can make it happen just taking small steps. I don't have to take this big leap of faith. Just take these smaller steps in rhythm, in attunement. Then I find the pattern of my thinking and the pattern of my behavior. And then what happens is you achieve all things. Why? Because then you lock into the universe. And when you lock into the universe, you and the universe are one and the same. The subconscious mind is a reflection of the universe. The universe is not looking at a negative or a positive per se. It's looking at the thought, the the one feeling. And if you have embraced them, then you shall achieve. Why? Because you see the end result already. And here's what you have to remember: the spirit of divine grace, in essence, becomes the revelatory degrees of light and deeper remembrance of your connection to divine source. The divine source is an unfailing supply of abundance and prosperity in infinite forms and infinite possibilities. I'll say that line again. The divine source is an unfailing supply of abundance and prosperity in infinite forms and infinite possibilities, meaning there's no limitations. We have to open up your way you think, open up how you see, open up the heart, which means avoiding limited thinking and doubting ourselves. So here's a meditation, a CPM, a creative pathway meditation that I have. And this is for planting transformational seeds of opportunity within yourself. What you're going to do is imagine that all that you're about to get in touch with is real to you. Your mind is your garden. I want you to know that. The garden that you're going to create up here already exists in here. The garden up here already exists in here. The thoughts have roots in the heart. Your thoughts have roots in your heart. Your thoughts have roots in your heart. Your thoughts are ideas that are rooting themselves from the inside out. Water, WATER, is the positive feelings that you have about what you are thinking about. And as I said before, what you actually deserve because you know you have value. Your thoughts are valuable, your feelings are valuable, your body's valuable, every organ in your body has a value. And you're going to make it the highest value. You're going to put something on it that's higher than what you've been thinking, higher, more energetic than what you've been doing. And you're going to remind yourself, I've been here before and I was successful then, I'm going to be successful now. I was successful then, I'm going to be successful now. So use the emotions to attract your heart's desires. But remember, this flow comes through you into your life by way of what? Divine grace. I just don't use the word grace because if I say grace, then what some people say, well, grace means favor. This is beyond that. So I use divine grace. And what is divine grace? Divine grace is the pure vibration of divine source. It what makes everything easier for you. You don't have to think, is this a reward? Will I be rewarded if I think positive? People can think positive all day, but if you don't have the faith in the word that you're using, it won't work. So you have to bring it on file out of yourself. You got to love what you're doing. You got to know that you love yourself. Therefore, you embrace yourself. Embrace yourself every morning. You get up. I love who I am, and I also love who I'm beginning to become. Because you got to become something in a higher level of expression for yourself. So let's just take a moment. A very short but fulfilling creative pathwork meditation for you. And I actually want you to bring up in your mind an image of a garden, or if you want, an image of a pot that you would begin to plant seeds into. And I want you to begin to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Just do that a few times to release any static energy or tension up in here and in your throat. And I want you to feel the presence of your breathing. So I want you to keep in mind that every time you're inhaling peace, harmony, and happiness. You might say, well, what happens when I exhale? You're sharing peace, harmony, and happiness with the world, with your surroundings. Those are the first three seeds. And as you continue with that, I just want you to know that you are the creator and co creator. So you play an integral part of creation in the universe, your surroundings. You are equally responsible for what you are thinking and what you are feeling. So I want you to feel better about yourself. I want you to know that you will feel better about yourself. I want you to know that you can align yourself to a higher reality, or better yet, a higher truth about yourself, a more infinite truth about yourself. We all know what energy feels like in the body. So let's plant that seed, an energy seed in the body. It's an infinite thought in the body of energy. I have more energy now than I had before. And this energy that I have now increases me in multiple ways. And just feel that. Feel the presence of that. I now want you to feel in your heart, which is the water within you, the pure essence of you emotionally, can water that seed, water that thought. And the minute you put your emotions in touch with that thought, begin to see it place roots deeply in you and through you into the earth and out into the world. It reaches out like the branches of a tree. And while you're inhaling and exhaling that feeling, you can mentally say to yourself, Amen to that, and so it is. And then you can go to another seed thought of transformation for yourself, where you begin to see that seed grow immensely, this brand new seed grow immensely in the soil of your consciousness. And what would that particular seed? Let it be anything that makes you feel better about yourself, about the life that you're living, and how the life you're living is going to change. Because you are ordering the change, you're ordering your steps, you're ordering courage to re enter your life. And now you become self confident that you are the same as the universe. Universe doesn't fail. It has an unfailing supply. It's infinite. It's an unfailing supply of abundance, prosperity, better health, good health, more intelligence, higher consciousness, better understanding, greater compassion and kindness to who? First yourself and then your environment. Know that you will feel better and be better. Because who are you? You are much better today than you were yesterday. You are much better today than you were a few minutes or moments ago. And you're not worried about tomorrow. You're just focused on the now. Because now brings whatever you had to live through in the past. You let go all the negativity from the past. And whatever is before you in the future, you are attracting all the positive energy out of the future into the now moment. And moment to moment, you are growing and becoming more successful for yourself. Why? Because you are aligning your heart, which is your doorway, with the heart and mind of the universe. You're becoming one and the same. Just relax into that moment. Relax into your worthiness, into your greatness about who you are. Relax into the point that there is no more limited thinking, no more limited feelings. You are truly who you say that you are. And I want you to know from this point that all of your ancestors that you had a positive connection with, all of your spirit guides that you have a direct connection with, all of the higher forces around you that you have a greater connection with, is now operating through you. And nothing is going to block you anymore. Old stagnated thoughts, old stagnated thinking, bad negative thoughts, the ones you see in the world outside of you, are not going to keep you from having success, joy, peace, harmony, and happiness in your life. Why? Because you're worthy, you have value, and you deserve it all. And however the universe brings it to you, embrace it and accept it because more is yet to come. And on that note, have a pleasant day, everybody. Thank all of you who joined me here on Instagram and people here on my YouTube channel. Thank you, Z Man Photos 63, Thought in Motion, X Orlali or X Ali. Thank you. Javita, thank you. Denise Benoit, thank you. Magic Stokes 83, thank you. Thank you so much for being on here with me today. If you want to connect with me further, you can email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com, or you can go to my website. Here's my website. Put it in here, and you can see what I'm doing on my website. Let me put it in here first. And this is for people on Instagram. So that's my website there. And my email address is there as well, but I'll put it here just in case you don't see it. And for those of you who are on YouTube, you already know what my excuse me, what my channel is and what my email address is. So I want to thank everybody on YouTube right now. Linda Garcia, Rose Jefferson, Indigo Moon, um, Barbara Ewing is probably in there, as well as Sir Mario Woods, and many more. Golden Timeline is usually there. Brother Holly is usually there. Holly Hemmett is usually in there. Yep, see? Barbara, you were just, yep, blessings. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. May you have a pleasant day, a pleasant weekend to come, a pleasant next week, and not let all this negativity override us, because we deserve the best. And we are growing in what is better for us to have. Take care, everybody. Peace, love, and happiness. So there we are. Hey, Chef, how you doing? I haven't seen you in quite some time. Thank you very much, everybody else that's here. Chef NYK, Barbara Ewing, um, Linda Garcia, Rose Jefferson, Indigo Moon. Who else I sent it out to today in my usual page? Holly Hemmett. If Lauren White sees this, thank you. If Amber Yohola sees this, thank you. Also, individuals such as Cynthia Jones, thank you. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. Well, anyway, Will Phillip, thank you if you were in here today. Who else? Melanie Hall. I may have forgotten to tell you. There's so many people to put in. I got to maintain a better list to remember. Thank you, everybody. Have a great time, and see you next Thursday. I should be here usually at 1 o'clock, but I was running a little late today, so I popped up at 1:30 Mountain Standard Time. So if you're on the East Coast, that's 3:30 p.m. today when I came on. If it also uh, West Coast, usually would be around noon or something like that. So everybody have a great time, a great weekend, and let's not let all this negativity interrupt the joy, peace, and harmony that we're supposed to receive in the world today. Let us not be affected from any of this negative stuff that's going on. Those individuals are acting negatively because they know it's their last go around. Why? Because the positive light is coming back into the world from the universe, and the universe is saying, tag, we are it. Thank you, everybody. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. My grace is your grace. See you next time. Take care now.